Imagine being trapped in a frozen wilderness where the wind is strong enough to knock you off balance and the cold bites through every layer you wear. There are no trees for firewood, no caves for shelter, and no modern equipment to save you, just endless white land in every direction. Now imagine that your only protection in this deadly environment is snow itself. It may sound unbelievable, but for centuries indigenous peoples of North America survived some of the harshest winters on Earth using knowledge so effective that early explorers were left in shock. What looked like a frozen wasteland to outsiders was actually full of hidden protection, if you understood how to use it. Most people see snow as a threat, something that brings frostbite and exhaustion, but northern tribes understood a powerful secret. Snow is filled with tiny pockets of trapped air, making it one of nature's best insulators. Instead of running from heavy snowfall, experienced hunters sometimes moved toward deep snowdrifts when storms approached. When caught far from camp, they built compact snow shelters designed to trap heat and block the wind. Building one required patience and skill. First, snow was gathered into a mound and packed tightly so it could harden in the freezing air. Once solid, the inside was carefully hollowed out while keeping the outer walls thick and strong. The result was a small dome capable of holding warmth even when the outside temperature dropped to dangerous levels. Body heat reflected off the snow walls and slowly warmed the interior, often keeping it near the freezing point, far safer than the brutal cold outside. But survival depended on details. A small ventilation hole had to be left in the ceiling so fresh air could circulate, because without it a person could run out of oxygen while sleeping. The sleeping area was also raised slightly above the entrance. Since cold air sinks and warm air rises, this simple design allowed heat to collect where it was needed most. Before entering the shelter, every bit of loose snow was brushed off clothing. If snow melted into fabric, it would pull heat away from the body rapidly. Inside, the ground was layered with animal skins, grasses, or branches to create insulation, because often the frozen earth itself was the biggest danger, silently draining warmth throughout the night. From a young age, children were taught how to recognize good snow for building. Fresh powder was too soft, but older, compact snow created strong, reliable walls. This knowledge was never written down, it was passed from generation to generation, becoming instinct for those who lived close to the land. Yet shelter alone was not enough. These communities knew that the human body is like a furnace, but only if it has the right fuel. Winter diets focused on high-energy foods, especially pemmican, a dense mixture of dried meat and melted fat. Light to carry and incredibly long-lasting, it provided the steady calories needed to generate body heat. Fat was particularly important because it released energy slowly, helping people stay warm for hours. Hunters often ate fatty food before going to sleep. Digestion naturally raised body temperature, reducing the risk of becoming dangerously cold overnight. A hungry person lost heat faster, making food just as critical as shelter. Even drinking water required caution. Eating snow directly could lower core temperature, so travelers usually melted it gradually in containers kept close to their bodies. Every small decision played a role in survival. Many tribes relied on teepees during winter, structures that may look simple but were actually engineered for cold environments. An inner lining created a pocket of air between the outer cover and the living space, trapping warmth while blocking icy drafts. The cone shape allowed powerful prairie winds to flow around the structure rather than push against it. A controlled opening at the top let smoke escape while allowing a fire to burn safely inside. Snow was often packed around the base to seal gaps, and the floor was covered with thick layers of hides and plant material. Nothing about the design was accidental. Every detail helped preserve heat. Clothing followed the same survival logic. Bison hides were turned into garments that blocked wind while trapping warm air close to the body. Fur faced inward for insulation, while the leather exterior protected against the elements. Footwear was especially important. Winter moccasins were made slightly larger so dry grass or moss could be placed inside, creating an extra insulating layer while absorbing moisture. If the material became damp, it was replaced immediately, because staying dry was essential in extreme cold. Movement was carefully controlled as well. Overheating could be dangerous because sweat quickly cooled once a person stopped moving, so people adjusted their layers constantly to maintain warmth without becoming damp. When temperatures dropped beyond what fire alone could handle, another powerful survival method came into play: shared body heat. Families slept close together, forming a tight circle that trapped warmth. Children and elders rested safely in the center, while stronger adults positioned themselves along the outer edges, shielding the group from the cold. Large animal hides covered everyone like a single blanket, holding heat inside, and sometimes dogs joined the group, their naturally higher body temperature adding even more warmth. Personal space mattered far less than survival, and this closeness also strengthened emotional resilience during long winter nights. Fire itself was precious, especially on open plains where trees were scarce. Instead of relying only on wood, many communities used dried bison dung as fuel. Surprisingly effective, it burned slowly and produced steady heat with little smoke. Families gathered large supplies before winter arrived, knowing preparation could determine whether they lived or died. Stones placed near the fire absorbed warmth and continued releasing it long after the flames faded. Fire was more than a tool, it was the heart of the shelter and a symbol of safety. Yet perhaps the greatest survival advantage was psychological. People were raised not to fear the cold but to respect it. Panic wasted energy while calm thinking preserved it. Experienced travelers learned to read subtle changes in the environment, shifting winds, animal behavior, even the color of the sky, often sensing storms before they arrived. Community spirit played a major role too. Stories, laughter, and shared routines helped keep morale strong through the darkest months, because losing hope could weaken a person faster than the weather itself. In the end, survival in these frozen lands was never about one trick. It was a complete system built on observation, preparation, and cooperation. Snow became insulation, food became internal heat, homes were designed to breathe, and even closeness between people became a life-saving strategy. What seemed hostile to outsiders was transformed into protection by those who understood it. Their experience reminds us that survival is not always about fighting nature. Often it is about learning its rules and working with them. So the next time you see a silent landscape covered in snow, remember that beneath that calm surface lies one of nature's most powerful shields, and sometimes the difference between danger and safety is not the environment around you, but the knowledge you carry within it.